Hello everybody, welcome. It's of course Cape Rugby TV, where every week we take a look at what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. Nice to have you along. And of course, but before we get the wheels turning, let me just say a big thanks to our partners on board with us. Score Energy Drinks. You can win yourself a case of Score during the course of the show. You can go visit our Facebook, www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV, and enter our competition. And of course, MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy. We'll talk more about them during the course of the show. And Decro Paints, of course, on board with Cape Rugby TV. We'll talk more about Decro a little bit later during the course of the show. Well, I'm dressed up rather smartly tonight because we've got a special guest in studio with us. And of course, our DHL Western Province Rugby ladies team are on their way to the finals, where they're going to be taking on the Bulls at Loftus this weekend. VIP guest in studio with me, Stanley Raubenheimer. Stanley, welcome.
Thank you very much, JP. VIP, I'm not too sure about that, but thank you for that.
Well, that's why I thought I would dress up just for you today. But yeah, it is an important week for you.
Yep.
DHL Western Province Rugby ladies side. You guys had a big result last week against Border.
Yep.
You walked away with a win, secured the. Of course, that was for a semi-final position, so you had a home semi-final. And now you're going to the finals.
Yeah, JP. It's been a tough couple of weeks for our team. A very young team, and to pull that one through against Border last week was a massive achievement for this team. And now it's on to the Bulls on Saturday.
Yeah, so I think you're probably right. It's probably a big one. I think it didn't work that way so well for you guys against Border last year.
Yep.
In the finals.
Yep.
Yeah, at Hamilton.
Yeah, and my experience this year is that Border is a very tough team for our players.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because a lot of them are coming from the Eastern Cape, and
Yeah.
there's almost a sibling rivalry that is happening between Border and Western Province that has been coming for a couple of years now. Now the finals was always Border and Western Province, and
Yeah.
the first time in a very long period that the final this time is going to be Bulls Daisies versus Western Province.
So how do you see, I mean, how has the SA Rugby Women's Premier Division been? You've, of course, got a lot of experience coming from the national, coaching the South African ladies side as well. I mean, you've got experience at every level in that
Yep.
space. How is women's rugby doing across the country? Because to move like that, where the one year it's Border in the finals, the next year it's the Bulls in the finals, it must mean that things are quite even. I mean, I believe you guys also had some other tough challenges.
Yeah, look, we can definitely say this, go full professional.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a difference why it's not Western Province Border final.
Really? Is that something that's starting to happen? Is that some of the women's rugby sides are now funded?
Well, it's just the Bulls at this point in time.
Right.
Tando Manana has gone in there, all guns blazing.
Yeah.
And he's got one focus, is to turn that Bulls team into a really competitive unit over the next couple of years. So there is some, in the corridor, some
Yeah.
noise has been made that
Yeah.
the women's game will be going professional, and the Bulls has
Taken the
lead.
Yeah. So that of course already shows that the difference between 1 year and the next
Yep.
year, there's a different school of thought, there's an improvement and more focus on women's rugby.
Yeah, and the Bulls are challenging the rest of the unions, which is exciting,
Yeah.
which is what we want to see in the women's game, and hopefully when the other unions catches on this, it would be a better product.
And how difficult is it for you from a timing perspective?
Yeah.
Because I think you don't have a first team, a second team, a third team. It seems like obviously you've got a core squad, and then do the other provinces like that operate like that as well, like a core squad, and then work through the season?
I'm not too sure about the other unions. At Western Province, we're very blessed.
Yeah.
We've got a very good junior system. We've got a very good under 20 group of players that are training, hoping that there's going to be a national competition for them. And that's maybe something we need to change for the future, that there's enough competition at junior level, like with the boys and men, that we can see how the talent can be developed and skills can be developed, conditioning can be developed, so when they get to a senior team, there is not a challenge for them.
And of course, in Western Province Rugby, you've also got a number of clubs that have got women's rugby teams now, and they're also competing together on a regular basis. Is that must also be a plus for you guys from having a feeding system into the... Do you draw from the clubs?
Yep. Look, and that's where Western Province is actually in the lead versus the rest of the unions, I believe. We've got a very good system, and Jongi Nokwe and his department is doing a lot of work. The whole of the Western Province amateur leg under Mr. Jones is getting that thing up and running. And two of our players that is playing in the final played for their clubs this weekend. They played for Brackenfell, which is good both ways. It's good for a player that is with us if they don't make the team to have an avenue where they can still play on a Saturday. Because the more the players play, the better they can get. And just, I think we're the leading union in regards to that.
Well, it is quite exciting. Folks, in studio with me now, Stanley Raubenheimer, of course, head coach for the DHL Western Province Rugby women's side. Still coming up, we are going to be taking a look at, of course, we're going to take a look at all of our club rugby results, logs and fixtures. A lot of action at the moment. It's getting down to the wire now where literally let's say possibly even this weekend coming, it will be more of a definition of who's actually going to be in the top 6. So we're going to be taking a look at the highlights from the match between Brackenfell and Kales River. We'll take a look at the highlights of the match between Unimill and Helderberg. And, of course, Marty's and St. George's. All that's still coming up during the course of the show. Stanley, we're talking about the women's rugby. You guys have got finals against the Bulls this weekend. Let's just talk about a little more focus around it. You say that the players need more opportunity to practice and so on. What we are also seeing from women's rugby sides is now that they're starting to do things like organize sevens tournaments together with themselves. There seems to be a good team effort, let's say that, between the clubs that have got women's teams. They're planning things together, because that obviously doesn't happen on its own.
No, and yes, I must take my hat off to the people that's involved in women's rugby. It's a very thankless task to get young ladies and girls to come and play the sport, and just to engage and keep them in the sport is a massive challenge, because purely because we don't play a lot, they don't have a lot of avenues to go and play. After school, then you lose touch, and there's no rugby for them. So to have that type of competitions, and hopefully we can arrange the 16th of September when the national team is playing their warm-up games for their competition in October. There's a possible game where we can have our team playing against a Rhino team also. So that's important.
And how much difference has the Western Province Rugby approach been in the last couple of years? You guys have been working on having a high-performance coaching seminars exclusively for women, whereas dedicated to focusing on women coaches. Has that had an impact on your success?
Yeah, look, during winter the numbers always dwell. People are not so focused on it, and I think we want to do it now in the off-season where we re-engage with the coaches, the referees, the players, everyone, to see how we can just reignite that program a bit better and organize it a bit better, purely from a woman's point of view.
Well, we also have got you here to talk to us about club rugby. So, we're looking forward to see what comes next week. And, of course, Western Province Lady, DHL Western Province Lady side taking on the Bulls in the finals at Loftus Versfeld this coming weekend. Folks, we're going to take a break. When we come back from the break, we'll start off with our first half highlights in the match between Brackenfell and Kales River. Don't go away, back in a sec.